The manila envelope arrived on a Tuesday, but Sarah knew it was only the beginning of a much longer paper trail. Years of research had taught her that proving Jewish heritage required assembling evidence from dozens of sources, each document adding another thread to the tapestry of identity that bureaucratic systems demanded to see complete. The Jewish Records Office at the Board of Deputies of British Jews maintains the most comprehensive collection of Anglo-Jewish genealogical records in the United Kingdom. Located in Bloomsbury, they house records from over 300 synagogues dating back to 1656, when Jews were first readmitted to England under Oliver Cromwell. Their research service costs $50 per hour with a minimum 2-hour charge, and appointments must be booked weeks in advance. The office maintains marriage registers, circumcision records, synagogue membership rolls, and burial records from communities across England, Scotland, and Wales. Beyond synagogue records, the Beth Din of the United Hebrew Congregations keeps meticulous documentation of all religious conversions, divorces, and status determinations dating back to 1844. Their archives, housed at the London Beth Din offices in Golders Green, require written requests and fees of $75 per search. These records prove particularly valuable because they document not just Jewish identity, but active religious participation and community standing. The Wiener Holocaust Library in Russell Square maintains extensive collections of pre-war European Jewish community records that were microfilmed before destruction. Their genealogy service charges $40 per hour and provides access to records from over 1,000 European Jewish communities. Many families discover relatives they never knew existed through the library's collection of displaced persons records and Holocaust survivor registrations. The National Archives at Kew holds unexpected treasures for Jewish genealogy researchers. Naturalization papers filed between 1844 and 1987 often indicate Jewish identity through birthplace references to ghettos or shtetls, sponsors from Jewish organizations, or occupations common in Jewish communities. Immigration records from the Aliens Act of 1905 specifically tracked Jewish refugees fleeing pogroms in Eastern Europe. These files cost $3.50 per online search or $7 for postal requests, but often provide crucial evidence of Jewish background that other sources miss. Wills and probate records housed at the National Archives frequently contain references to Jewish practices that establish religious identity. Testaments mentioning donations to synagogues, bequests of Hebrew books or ritual objects, instructions for Jewish burial, or provisions for saying Kaddish provide compelling evidence of Jewish identity. The language used in wills often reflects Jewish cultural patterns, such as references to going to my eternal rest, rather than Christian terminology about salvation. Probate inventories occasionally list Hebrew books, mezuzot, kiddush cups, or other ritual objects that demonstrate household Jewish observance. Medical records from circumcision procedures performed by qualified mohels carry significant evidentiary weight. The Initiation Society, founded in 1745, maintains records of ritual circumcisions performed in London and surrounding areas. Their archives, accessible through written request and $40 fee, include detailed documentation of Brit Milah ceremonies, including the infant's Hebrew name, father's Hebrew name, and witnessing community members. Hospital records from institutions like the London Jewish Hospital also documented circumcisions and often noted religious dietary requirements during patient stays. Hebrew teachers' records and certificates provide another layer of documentation. The Jews College, now part of the London School of Jewish Studies, maintains employment records for Hebrew teachers, chazanim, and religious functionaries dating back to 1855. These records often include attestations of Jewish knowledge and community standing that extend beyond formal synagogue membership. Private Hebrew tutors often maintain student registers that documented Jewish education in families who may not have belonged to formal synagogues. Kosher certification records maintained by the London Beth Din and various kosher supervisory organizations document Jewish business ownership and observance. The Qadassia and Sephardi Kashrut Authority maintain historical records of businesses that required kosher supervision, often including detailed documentation of the owner's Jewish credentials and level of observance. These records, available through written request and research fees of $60 to $100, often provide evidence of sustained Jewish identity in commercial contexts. Jewish Mutual Aid Society records offer extensive documentation of Jewish community participation. The Jewish Board of Guardians maintain detailed case files for families receiving assistance, including assessments of religious observance, synagogue membership, and community connections. These records, now held at the London Metropolitan Archives, often contain testimonials from rabbis and community members vouching for applicants' Jewish status and need for assistance. Zionist organization membership records provide evidence of Jewish political and cultural identity. The English Zionist Federation maintains archives dating back to 1899, including membership rolls, donation records, and correspondence that demonstrates sustained engagement with Jewish nationalist causes. The Women's International Zionist Organization records, held at the Women's Library at the London School of Economics, document Jewish women's organizational involvement and often include family background information. Jewish newspaper subscription and contribution records offer unique evidence of cultural identity. The Jewish Chronicle, published continuously since 1841, maintains subscriber databases and records of contributors to their various charitable appeals. Letters to the editor, obituaries, and wedding announcements published in Jewish newspapers often provide details about religious ceremonies and community connections that formal records miss. The archive is accessible through the British Newspaper Archive, with individual articles costing $12.95 for download. Travel documents and passport applications sometimes contain evidence of pilgrimages to Palestine or later Israel. The Palestine Office records at the Central Zionist Archives in Jerusalem document Jews who sought immigration certificates before 1948. These files often include detailed background checks that verify Jewish identity and community connections. The Jewish National Fund maintains records of land purchases and donations that often include family histories and attestations of Jewish commitment. Property records related to synagogue construction and Jewish neighborhood development provide community-level evidence of Jewish presence. The London Metropolitan Archives holds extensive records of synagogue building permits, planning applications, and property transfers that document the growth of Jewish communities. Deeds for properties in areas like Whitechapel, Golders Green, and Stamford Hill often reference covenant restrictions that assume Jewish ownership and use. Insurance records from Jewish mutual benefit societies document community membership and financial contributions. The Jewish Friendly Societies maintain detailed membership records, including family information and community references. These societies often required proof of Jewish status for membership, creating valuable secondary documentation of Jewish identity. Records are held at various locations, including the Modern Records Center at the University of Warwick. Personal correspondence and diaries, when preserved in family papers or donated to archives, often contain the most intimate evidence of Jewish observance and identity. The Parkes Institute at the University of Southampton houses extensive collections of Anglo-Jewish family papers that include letters discussing holiday observances, kashrut practices, and community events. The Jewish Museum London also maintains collections of personal papers that include correspondence in Hebrew or Yiddish, recipes for Jewish foods, and family photographs from Jewish life cycle events. Academic records from Jewish schools and universities provide educational evidence of Jewish identity. Jews College maintain detailed student records, including entrance examinations in Hebrew and Jewish studies. The records of Jewish day schools like Hasmonean High School and JFS include family background information and often reference synagogue membership for admission. These educational records, available through direct contact with institutions and research fees of $25.50, often span multiple generations of the same families. Tax records occasionally contain evidence of charitable giving to Jewish causes. Historical charity tax relief claims, available through the National Archives, sometimes document sustained giving to synagogues, Jewish schools, and relief organizations. Business tax records may show kosher supervision fees or payments to Jewish suppliers that indicate religious observance in commercial contexts. Employment records from Jewish organizations and businesses provide occupational evidence of Jewish community involvement. The records of Jewish banks like Rothschild & Sons, Jewish manufacturing companies, and import businesses specializing in kosher products often include detailed employee files that reference community connections and religious observance. Trade union records from Jewish-dominated industries like tailoring and furniture making, held at the Modern Record Center, document worker participation in Jewish mutual aid and religious organizations. Sarah learned that proving Jewish heritage often meant assembling dozens of small pieces of evidence rather than finding one definitive document. A circumcision record from 1895, a ketubah from 1920, a synagogue membership list from 1938, Hebrew school enrollment from 1922, a burial society payment record from 1945, kosher business certification from 1935, Zionist organization membership from 1917, and personal letters discussing Passover preparations from 1925 collectively painted a picture that no single document could provide. The weight of evidence approach required casting a wide net across multiple archives, but eventually yielded the documentation necessary to satisfy even the most stringent requirements for proving Jewish ancestry and identity.